I was deeply technical when
Yeah.
I went into Anderson Consulting, and I got paid much less than engineers who graduated, because I graduated with a degree in economics. And they paid engineers $4,000 more entry point. By the way, the salary, which
Yeah,
was
what
a
did you
good
make?
salary, it
Yeah.
was a good salary, was $27,000 entry salary, and engineers were paid 31 to 35.
So that was significant. The
That was-
engineering versus non-engineering.
Yeah, and a lot of my friends were making 18, 19 grand. And the thing that pissed me off is I had a friend who was a cocktail waitress and had never done shit on computers, and she was paid $34,000 because she was an engineer.
Wow.
Cocktail waitress, really.
Engineering degree.
Engineering degree.
Yeah.
And wasn't even electrical. I think she was mechanical engineer.
Was she serving drinks around the office? What do you mean she was a cocktail waitress?
No, but like in college, I'm working in a computer store, and then I'm doing programming.
She's waiting tables.
No, not even waiting tables. She was a cocktail waitress.
She literally was.
And a
Okay.
receptionist. And
Okay.
and there's nothing wrong with that, but I mean, so there's a point I want to make here, and it's not about cocktail waitresses. She was paid much more than me, and no matter how technical I was, they saw me as the business guy because I graduated with a degree in economics.
Right.
So my goal was to transfer into the deeply technical part of Anderson Consulting so people would see me as a technologist because I love technology. And I finally got transferred, and the move to France, we had 3 tech centers around the world. It was, there was one in Silicon Valley, unsurprising, one in Chicago, and there was this group out of the south of France that served all of Europe. And so then I joined this group. It was called Network Solutions. We did computer networking and the predecessor to the internet. And then no matter what project I went on, suddenly I was no longer the business guy. I was like the tech geek. And I'm like, but hang on a second. I was economics degree. I did all this business stuff. No.
Matter.
You go in the corner with all the nerds and do the tech stuff. And then a few years later,
were they still paying you as a business guy, or did they eventually pay you as a tech guy?
well, it kind of all equals out in the
Okay.
end. It does. And then I got into strategy consulting, and I wanted to go into strategy consulting, and they said, yeah, but you are a tech guy. Like, we don't take tech guys in the strategy consulting group. So I worked on that for a few years. I got them to accept me.
Yeah.
And they transferred me, and probably the internet helped because they needed internet skills in their strategy group. And then suddenly I was a PowerPoint weenie. It was like nobody would give me any respect, and they just saw me as the guy, oh, you're the guy who goes and talks to the senior people to do PowerPoint slides. So then when I left Anderson, I did a startup, and that startup...
This is in Europe?
Yeah.
You stayed there?
Yeah, and I'll tell you the story of how I did that for all the wrong reasons. But when I did my first startup, then it was like, okay, I was a startup guy, and no one could see me as anything but a startup guy, so I started a second company, and I just called myself a serial entrepreneur. I guess if you do more than one, by definition, that's serial. And then everyone just started calling me serial entrepreneur. So then when I wanted to go into venture capital, everyone said, yeah, but you can't really do that. You need to be an EIR. I said, why? They said, well, because you're the serial entrepreneur. Right? And so moral of my story is you make your own brand.
You're never good enough.
No,
yeah.
You make your own brand. It's like, if you want to be the marketing person, or you want to be perceived as a business person or a VC or a technical person or whatever you want to be perceived, people will always define you. And the only way to break that mold is to define yourself. And the only way to define yourself is to come up with the brand that you want to create for yourself and to always tell people that that's what you are. So when I got into venture capital, I thought, well, what could I do that's different? And I thought, I'm going to be in LA, which I was only supposed to come for 2 years, and here we are 7 years later. But I was only supposed to come for 2 years, or it's 6 years later. I was only supposed to come for 2 years. And I thought, do I want to brand myself as the LA guy?
Yeah.
And I thought, nah, I want to do the best deals wherever they are. But I thought most VCs that I met didn't have very good operational experience. So I thought, well, what if I created a blog called Both Sides of the Table, and I could emphasize the fact that I used to sit on your side of the table? So then I just chose to brand myself as that guy. But you can create your own brand. What was the question?
That was it. Can you create your own brand?
I think you can.
I agree.